This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Little Lessons. Today we're going to talk about joy. Finding joy in the classroom is essential. That is something that Christine and I work on continuously because our little kindergartners come in and they're so bubbly and energetic.
Joy is really, really important in the classroom because without joy, I mean, honestly, what's the point?
What is the point? So today we're excited to bring along someone who finds joy in the midst of chaos at all times. It's one of our dear friends, James Calvert.
Hello.
Hey, the one and only.
Yeah, I mean, a true legend in our school.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, he isn't just a substitute teacher. He's the kind of presence that lights up a classroom.
Dude, James.
In fact, James is the kind of person you want at every gathering, from parties to book clubs to a day at the beach. He brings joy wherever he goes. With a background in acting and a heart full of joy, he turns an ordinary school day into a magical one. So,
James, do you know that you're known for creativity, flexibility, joy, and kindness? You're such a kind person.
Oh.
And somehow it's true what Jenny said, even in the chaos of last-minute substitute jobs, which is not an easy job to have.
Yep.
You always connect with the kids and the people and the community, and you're a joy to be around.
Well, we can't wait to hear your stories and your wisdom and the big little lessons that you've learned and taught along the way.
Thank you.
Woohoo! So, James, tell us a little about your educational journey. What was it like?
I remember, since we're talking about joy and chaos, I could tell you about chaos. I think I was in first grade or second grade up in Santa Barbara. Someone brought a snake in, a live snake. They thought it'd be so interesting. And the snake had not eaten. So we got to see them put this poor little mouse in there and squeeze the mouse. We saw a little heart burst. It was a lot for a first grader. It was a lot.
Terrifying.
And then she's like, well, now he's docile because he's eaten. So if you want to, bring him around and you could touch him, you could pet the little bum. And little Jim Calvert was like, no, that's not for me. No, I'm quite okay. No, I don't need that. But they kept going up and down the aisle. And I was like, no, that's okay. And finally she got to me. And I was like, I don't really need to. And that snake apparently felt like my fear and turned and vomited up.
No.
Yes, the little rat on me.
No.
Horrible. And evacuated the back end. So then I got a whole lesson about how snakes can do that. They
Clearly.
they do that in case they're scared or they're trying to get rid of a predator. They can do all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Very early memory.
What a memory.
So, how do you feel about snakes today?
I appreciate them as fellow creatures on this planet, but I am not having them in. Except in kindergarten, one of the assistants kept snakes. And so I remember she brought in the snakes and she was great because now I'm a substitute teacher. Now I'm an adult. And she really respected how much I wanted to interact or not interact with her snake. And she loved her snake. So I got to pet it a little bit.
One index finger
on
on the top of the head.
And if you
Just enough for me.
Yeah. So I get to revisit that lesson in a less intrusive way.
I do not like snakes, but that child book, Verde, do you remember that book?
No, I don't know.
Stella Luna. The
Oh,
author
yeah,
of Stella Luna,
of course.
The author wrote a book, Verde.
I
It's
know
about
which
the
book you're
green
talking
emerald
about.
snake.
Ooh.
And honestly, that book helped me to think, maybe I could look at a snake and not cringe.
Right.
But yeah, I'm fascinated by people who love snakes. So, but if I had a first grade experience like you did, forget it.
It was pretty traumatic.
Oh my gosh.
Lots
What
of
kind of
tan.
student would you say you were when you were in the younger years?
I think I was a very enthusiastic student, but I probably
that?
a lot to handle because I do recall there was some discussion about putting me on some kind of medication to calm me down. And my mother was kind of against it. So they came up with a solution that every so often I just got too antsy. The teacher would say, Jim, run to the end of the the play yard. So I would run across campus and back, panting, and then I was calm enough to sit down and listen.
But that was a good teacher, right? She gave
Yeah.
you the accommodation that you need to.
Absolutely.
I'm like, you know what you need? You need a lap around the kindergarten
Lap
yard.
around
Let's
the
go. And they're
Yep.
thrilled. They think they're getting away with something. I'm like, you're helping all of us.
That was
Yeah,
cool. I like
absolutely.
that.
This was back in the 70s.
Do you have any memories
I
of-
don't remember the teacher specifically. I just
Interesting.
remember that was allowed. Like this was first and second grade. I don't remember the teachers so well. Third grade, Mrs. Sims. Fourth grade, Mrs. Chalfont. Fifth grade, Dr. Hayes. Like then I started like
You're right.
putting
Putting it together.
faces to names.
I think that's developmental as well, because I think you don't have that. It's kind of your first time in, like in our case, an elementary classroom.
Right.
And
Oh,
so they're just building routines. So they're kind of a deer in a headlight. All
yeah.
year they're just like, this is our first time doing anything at the school. So
yeah.
it makes sense.
Of those one particular person that you.
Oh, Miss Chalfont, I just loved her because I remember she also kind of appreciated me. Like she got who I was. And so like, there'd be something in the classroom that was going to be extra credit, except for James, because he's going to be doing it anyway. So it's not extra credit for you. Everyone laughed because they knew I was going to do all the other assignments no matter what. And she also taught us about elbow grease. We were going to come and clean the room. And she told us just to bring elbow grease. That's all we needed. And we all looked at her like, what are you
What's
talking
elbow
about?
grease?
So we got to explain that. And then in fifth grade, we had this amazing teacher, Dr. Hayes, and he was able to do stuff that I don't think you can get away with now. But like he trusted us so much as fifth graders. He would give us a list of assignments that were due. He'd give it on Monday, and Friday they were due. And then it was up to you whether you came to school or not. And you just had to come back and have everything done. And the classroom was open to you, of course, and he was there to help. But it was about being independent and about, like you have to come up with, and he also was great about having these large goals chopped up into smaller pieces. So you could see, by this date, you needed to pick your topic for your main research program. And by this date, you needed to have broken down into chapters. And by this date, you had to read this much.
He was teaching you to be like intrinsically motivated.
Yes.
Like it was not for any other reason than he was giving you all that ownership of your learning.
Right.
So cool.
I could see you at that age because you're such you're similar to Christina and myself where you love to learn and you're so naturally engaged. Do you remember? So I imagine you were just thriving on it because to be able to make your own choices of what you're going to do within some outline form.
Right. We had at one point, we had like environmental trips, where we had to go out and you take the bus line. We had to plan out our bus line, go to these different places, come back. Obviously, he had people watching, you could call him and tell him what's happening. And I thought that was so great. And then I really wanted to go because there was supposed to be this storm surge and there was going to be these huge waves in Santa Barbara. And I wanted to go to the breakwater. And he's like, well, write me a proposal. Wow. I was like, what is that? And he said, give me a purpose and how we'll go about it. And so I had to like typed back in 1970, whatever. But I typed this whole thing up, why we would do it, what we would get out of it, basically a lesson plan. And I'm sure it was a foregone conclusion. He was going to say yes, but I still had to come up with it. He was a fantastic teacher.
He was a fantastic teacher, but you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking like, what about, poor Charlie could not handle that, like who needed more hand holding, right? Interesting. I mean, I think that hopefully that they would rise to the occasion.
Hopefully. And he was there every day. So you did if you came to school, there was a schedule, there was a thing to do. It's just you weren't punished if you wanted to do it independently.
I feel like that was like he was for the forefront of like differentiated curriculum.
He was.
He was really making it work for you and for Charlie.
I wonder, did you keep in touch with him or did you?
My mom was very proactive about my education. So he wasn't actually at my school. So I was at one school, second, third, fourth grade, and then he was at a different school. So she worked out a transfer and, a ride sharing thing. And I went to this other school for one grade and then came back to my regular school. No. And then we moved to, a different city. So
I love that. Oh my gosh, James, the things we're learning about you. I love it. Well, okay. So I want to ask you, what brought you into the classroom? For listeners, I mean, you've taught every subject in elementary.
In the art studio, he's wearing an apron.
He's so creative. I mean, he's amazing at it. And then music, and you're singing with the kids, and you're just amazing. And I mean,
Oh,
I've
thank
had
you.
the honor, and I know Christine has too, of having you in our classroom. And you just bring yourself to it. So tell me, how did you get started becoming a substitute teacher at the school?
Funny little story. I mean, I'm an actor, and I would subsidize that by also teaching drama. And so mostly that was like, preteens, teenagers, something like that. But then there was also a summer program going on at Campbell Hall.
We just say the school.
The school.
That's the school. Keep going.
La, la, la. So there was a summer program happening there, and I was asked to come in and teach, like direct the play. This was for the 4 and 5-year-olds, the really young kids. And I thought, I don't know, I've never done that. They're like, oh, you're great with kids. You'll be great with this. So I went and I had a really good time. And my co-teacher happened to be in charge of all the subs for the school. And so she asked, do I want to come in and be a sub during the year? Like, I thought, okay, I don't know. So the first thing she calls, she goes, okay, so tomorrow, come on in and you'll be teaching, like you'll be teaching PE. And I said, okay, of all the subjects, that is not
PE.
necessary. I was the actor and I was the director and I'm in the arts. She's like, no, great. You have great control of the classroom. You really listen to people. I think you'll be fine. So I showed up with my little costume on. So I looked like a PE
I
teacher.
love it, with your little
Yeah.
cap.
And
That was your first day.
that was my very first day teaching. And I
Wow.
was the PE teacher. And I do remember like some of the kids were horsing around and they were using equipment improperly. I was like, well, that looks dangerous. So I said, hey, that looks dangerous. Let's not do that. And this kid said, yes, sir. I thought, oh, I could do this. I like this place.
That's so funny. I remember seeing the first time before I was teaching kindergarten full time, I was substituting at the school for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
But my first year teaching kindergarten, you became a substitute. And pretty quickly I thought, I'm so glad I'm not substituting now because this guy is way better at it than I am.
No.
And no, you were good. And so the first time my associate was going to be absent, and I heard I was going to have James Calverton to substitute, and I pulled in with the girls, and you were like 2 cars over, and there's kids everywhere, and there's carpools and stuff going on, and I see you, and you're very focused knitting, and I thought, why do I think I'm going to like this guy? And of course I do.
So it's true. You're a true Renaissance man,
Thank
right?
you. Yeah.
And so when you come into the classroom, how do you use your acting? Like, how do you use all those skills to get their attention? Or, I mean, are you thinking about it when it's
I'm
happening?
not thinking about it,
Just
but
organic.
like it's organic and it's how I've lived my life. And there's a certain kind of attention you have to bring to a performance where you are very much listening to what's happening at that moment and you're paying attention to what's happening at that moment and bringing a little more energy than just sitting around chatting with people.
Right.
Like you have a little bit of intensity and clarity. And that really helps people know like, oh, now's the time to listen, as opposed to coming in and just like, what's happening? Where am I supposed
But
to be?
that's
Yeah.
a true gift. And Jenny and I talk about reading the room a lot, like as a teacher and as a person in general. Like that's such an important skill to be able to come in, to walk into a place that you've never been before with people you've never seen before and to assess what the situation
Yes.
and what it feels like and where to put yourself, right? You do
And
that beautifully.
when you're stepping in as the substitute teacher, you have to be putting yourself at the front. You can't just take a back seat, you know?
No.
So, but the really good thing about stepping in as a substitute is that always there's already a routine set up. So all the students are expecting something to happen. And all you have to do is ask them, what's the next thing that normally happens? And they're so happy to tell you because they get to be the expert. And then you get to like run, through it. And I said, I'm not asking you to do anything dangerous or embarrassing or illegal. We're just going to be a little different. So
Yeah.
just, I'm going to have a lot of patience and I hope you do too. So if I go a slightly different way, maybe it's okay. Go
Always,
with
we
the
like to
flow.
say
But I
that.
don't want to make anything wrong or say, don't tell me what to do or anything. I just want to listen and say, appreciate that you're trying to keep the class going the way it always has. Thank you for that input. At this point, I think we should just go with my suggestion.
But don't you think that that's what makes a successful teacher and substitute? Because if you were just like, nope, we're lining up, like you
Yeah.
would get the kids would not be interested in you.
No.
And you wouldn't have their trust, you wouldn't have their attention. And
Yeah.
and then instead of creating joy, it would be more chaotic.
I mean, I think that's back to your thinking of how to kind of approach and kind of command with flexibility and humor.
Yeah.
Because we've all had those substitute teachers where they're just my way or the highway, and that can backfire.
I want to have a good time when I'm there, and I want to learn something.
Yep.
And so I think that comes across,
Yeah.
when I'm with the kindergartners and we're going to read some silly little book. I want to, well, what happens? I mean, what happens to the octopus?
I want to know.
So, it helps when I can actually ask someone, hey, could you not disturb your neighbor? I'm trying to find out what happens with this book. So as long as it's not about a me against you situation, but like we're all in this together. We all want to learn together and we want to have fun.
Yeah, no, it is fun. And it is nice as a substitute to be able to kind of follow a teacher's plans and then wrap up the day and say, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Another time.
Taking yourself too seriously, but you're getting the kids, engaged.
Right.
And really all that is my only job of the day is to be really present with the kids and to make them feel that they've had a good day. They've learned something that I appreciate. I can hear them and I'm listening. And that's all. I don't have to make lesson plans. I don't have to deal with administration or other things outside of the class or like know where we are in the flow of the year. I just have to make that kid in front of me feel special.
I love that.
Is it hard to follow lessons? I was never a substitute teacher, ever. So I've never had to walk into a classroom and follow someone else's lessons plan, but both of you have.
I really enjoyed it. I never had a bad day with substitute teaching. I think because when you come into a brand new room, they're trying to assess you pretty quickly too.
Oh, yeah.
And I always had like a little bag of tricks. So I would say, hey, everybody, if we get all this stuff done, the last 15 minutes, I played this silly little name that tune game. I would have a little game, or we'd have extra free play or something fun for them to do. And I'm like, whoops, it's getting too noisy. I'd love to give you that 15-minute, that game, and they would straighten up. Now, the problem would be if I had to come back 3 or 4 days, and it's like,
we're done with this.
The novelty is wearing off. This game's done. So, but I really loved it. And I felt like it was a chance to get to know all the teachers at a school, all the students. You just get to see them in a different way. So it's fun. And you, James, you've been a long-term sub where you've had contracts and then you're going to the meetings and you're going to all the things and filling out and report cards and parent conferences. So it's a big difference.
It's a big difference,
Right.
I know you've had times where you're like, I can't work on Wednesday. I'm going to Disneyland. I'm like, oh, can I please go with you?
Come.
And you send pictures here, having a great time. So that's also a flexibility. I love that. So, but you have stepped in at the very last minute, or a teacher comes to work and, half hour in, they're like, I have to go home. I don't feel well.
Right.
And comes James.
We call you. Yeah.
You've been such a gift. So
You're our go-to guy.
Right. So let's see. You have some go-to things that you really like to do when there's like that last 15 minutes or there's that.
I love reading and I love being read to.
Oh, I love that.
And so like there's always you're in a school, there's always books available. And so that's my go-to. My go-to is like, let's have a little reading session, whether it's me reading to the little kids or we'll partner up and read to each other or silent reading if, some classes are really into that. But yeah, that's my go-to in the end.
I love it.
And as an actor, you must really be good at voices.
Oh, there was that unicorn, the grumpy unicorn.
Did he have a voice?
Did he have a voice? It's so good. I feel like you need to record that book and upload it.
I just remembered there were so many different characters. And at one point, I had forgotten what voice I had used because I didn't think this character was coming back.
Great.
And I said something and the kids looked at me like, that's not what you did last time.
Voice?
You're switching
2
the
pages
voice.
back. It's like, I'm sorry.
I mean, the grumpy unicorn voice was just killing me.
I don't want to do that. It's so fun.
Oh my gosh. I threw the book at him. Like he was working with me and it was like the last 15 minutes of the day. James, will you do it? He's of course I will. And so he's just reading it cold and I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. It was very fun.
I'm having a flashback and I just have this vivid memory. And it was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Okay.
Before you were traveling.
Yes.
I was like, would you please record yourself reading a book, a St. Patrick's Day book, as a leprechaun?
Oh,
remember
yes,
that?
I totally remember
and I think
that.
you came to my apartment.
Yes.
And I recorded you reading it.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to have something for I remember that.
I mean, we were talking earlier, Christine, about wanting to find joy, especially during the lockdown and COVID and remote learning. And we're like, we've got to have joy in the kindergarten classroom. And then I'm like, wait, James wasn't here. Where'd
No,
you go?
I
Where'd
was Japan. I flew to
You left
Japan for
us.
a year.
It was the beginning, so you got us going.
He taught us. He taught us how to have joy in the classroom.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So thank you.
Said yes.
I know, and I think you came back, you got vaccinated, and you went back to work.
Almost immediately.
A year later, it was March to March. March 21, you're like, I'm back on campus.
right.
Here we go. So that was great.
Do you have any funny moments that you can think of with student? I mean, we have them all the time, right?
Oh
Are
my
there
gosh.
any that
There's so
stand
many.
out
I mean,
to you?
there's the whole, kids say the darndest things thing.
Greatest show ever.
Oh, I just kindergarten. Like, I remember some little kid, Charlie, asking me how old I was. And foolishly, I said, how old do you think? And they said, 18? And I said, oh, no, I'm a little older than that. And they said, 100? And I thought, okay, this is not fair. I said, it's not fair. I'm sorry. I'm whatever age I was. But, how would you know? And I do remember that another little boy, Charlie, and we were all lining up to go outside for his little snack. And, at the time we had to wear a tie as a man. So you'd have to tuck in your shirt. You'd have to have a nice little, like there's a certain look with a tie. And so he walked up to me and, he's just a little below my waist and he reaches up both hands and he holds on to my little fat rolling over my belt. And he says, you're a little bit fat, Mr. Calvert.
Oh, gosh.
And I said, yes, I am. He clearly was not being mean. He was just being very observant.
Oh.
in his
As
eye
5 and 6 year olds are, they tell
They
it
are
like it is.
so
They just
honest.
do.
You're not.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You look fabulous. No, but I had a kindergartner say that one time. It was like May, early June. And she just looked at me and she's like, you look really tired. I'm like, that is not a compliment, by the way. Who wants to be told that you look really tired? I'm like, I am.
It's the end of a long year.
I'm really tired. Good observation.
Music, though, when we had microphones, much like these, actually. And I remember we had some time at the end. And I was like, hey, they'd say, can we have like open mic? And I'm like, sure. And so one kid got up and he did a little stand up, very funny. And then this gal, she got up and she started singing some song that she loved and then forgot a lyric and then came out with this expletive, right?
Oh.
And it was silent. And everyone looked at me and she looked at me. And I said, we don't know what that word means. We've never heard it, any of us.
That was brilliant.
A day in
Right?
the life. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
And the truth is, throughout your days, you could either get frustrated or annoyed or grumpy, but you don't. I mean, the way that you see the children and the way that you
Yes.
are experiencing your job as a substitute teacher, it makes all the difference.
It makes all the difference, not only for the kids, but for the teachers as well.
That I didn't know. I didn't know that. For me, it's always about me and the kids, and I never thought about the other teachers.
Oh my gosh. I mean, all the teachers are like, I want James Calvert. I want James Calvert. And they fight and they get, irritated with each other.
We
like,
all want you.
No, I've got the class that really needs him. And so everyone like arm wrestles for James Calvert. So I remember one day, it was the end of May. The kids are now mistakenly calling me mom because they're getting
Right.
too comfortable. We call them, they're now first graders. It's time to move on.
You're cooked.
And so they had free choice time. It was a Friday.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm doing my little clean up, everybody, everywhere. And no one's cleaning up, not anything. So then I'm
That's
like,
never happened to me.
we gotta
Right.
we gotta get this place cleaned up and packed up because we gotta go home. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, whatever. And they're not listening. So in waltz James. I think you were somewhere else on campus, but you came over.
Oh, yeah, because sometimes I would just drop in.
Yeah, you just kind of float through. James, I can't get them to clean up. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm getting like grumpy, right? Let's
Right.
just say it like it is. And James was like, well, let's just change it up. And so he puts on Queen, We Will Rock You. Really loud. And all of a sudden, bum, 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 bum. We will. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if anybody walks in, I mean, I'm supposed to be sing-songing, happy. And we have this song really loud. And do you know, you got me laughing so hard.
And we cleaned up, didn't
And I mean, if you can't get them to do something, switch it up, make a new song.
Switch it up.
Think of how James Calvert would do it.
So
I'm
anyway.
going to butcher the quote, but there's a Maya Angelou quote where she talks about like people are not going to remember like the words that you said or how you phrased it, but they will remember how
How
you
they made them feel.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so important with like I'm sure these kids are not going to remember my name or what I did, but hopefully they'll. I mean, actually, I've seen that. Actually, I came back from Japan this last time after a year, and I had been a long-term sub in second grade, and now they're in third grade. A year had gone by, and I came into sub, and they kind of look at me, and then they do a little double take, or some did, or some didn't, and someone said, I think maybe a long time ago, did you teach us? I was like,
Aw.
well, yeah. I mean, a good 20% of your life ago, but just
Yeah.
10 minutes ago for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, oh yeah, I remember. They didn't remember like what I did or what my name was, but they do remember the feeling they had about interacting with me.
So important.
Well, I'm curious. And then, I mean, we all have those days that are a little bit challenging or rough. And how do you maintain some humor and grace when you
I don't know that I've ever actually seen you in a bad mood.
either?
Yeah, I don't.
If you're grumpy or
Well, if I'm the grumpy unicorn, I could just choose not to work that day. That's the joy of being a sub. If you wake up on the wrong
yes.
side of the bed, you could just say no.
I'm going to Disneyland.
But often, like if I'm feeling grumpy or it seems chaotic, I'll just be really honest with the kids.
Yeah.
Like that's the honesty is like they'll know that you're being truthful.
Yeah.
And I'll say, you guys, this is really frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm really frustrated. I'm trying to get this done. It doesn't seem like it's gonna. So, we need to get this much done. How
Yes.
can we do that?
Yeah.
Even if we don't get the whole goal. So, sometimes you just have to say, kids, help me out here.
Right.
Help me out.
Please name it, because I think that sometimes kids don't always know that we're having, some challenges too, and that they need to help us out as much as we're helping them.
I mean, everybody's going through something. I've
Gosh.
heard sometimes some confessions that have come at me like, whoa, I'm amazed that you can be here every day and concentrate at all. Like what's going on in your family right now or what just happened or
Right.
where your thoughts are. And so, I appreciate it when I am told that, but I got to remember that not everyone's comfortable telling me that. So if I see a kid that's not listening or, there's obviously a reason other than that kid doesn't like me. That's not the answer.
never.
Just having some natural empathy,
For them and for you.
right. I mean, and you're always so good about kind of touching base with the teacher about the day you spent with the students. And again, you actually have humor, and you always drew cute little pictures. Do you remember the one?
With a picture.
No, you just would have your little drawings.
Remember the one where
I know. Oh my gosh. So I had a student who was late every single day, except she missed one day of school. She was late every single day and only missed one day of school the
Wow.
entire school year.
Yeah.
And she was lovely, bright, smart, charming, but impulsive and shouting out and rarely on
yes.
task and struggled with friendships. And so James was substituting, and I come back the next morning and I get this note. Charlie was on task all day. Charlie raised her hand all the time.
Interrupted.
It's like, you got to have fun with these kids,
Right.
Yeah.
and just find the joy when they are a little bit spicy or a little bit rambunctious,
Yep.
that it's actually kind of hilarious at the same time. So finding that joy.
He would, on the bottom of your lesson plan, it would say, your class was delightful today. They followed all directions. They got all their work done. A+.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my
Great.
gosh.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay. Should we do a little bit of lightning round?
Let's do it.
So you ready?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay. First question. What is your favorite classroom book to read aloud?
Okay, there's a story. Jenny, in your class and your class as well, I'm assuming, because they were mirrored, they read Charlotte's Web.
Oh,
And I
They
love
did.
Charlotte's Web.
Yes, they did.
And I hadn't read that for a long time. And so at the very end, it says, at the end of the day, you start where the marker is, we're 2/3 of the way through the book. And I'm like, oh, great. Okay. So, I get the kids and I'm so excited. I'm going to read this to you. And I open it up and Wilbur's like, we're going to go back home tomorrow. And Charlotte said, I won't be going home with you tomorrow. And Wilbur said, why not? And then I was like, I was choking because I knew what was going to
I
happen.
know.
And all the kids looking at me and there are tears rolling down my eyes. I'm like, I can't be crying, but
I'm
Charlotte's
languishing.
going to die. And they don't know.
Language.
And how did you tell me to read from this moment? It was so terrible. And all the kids would look at me like, why are you so choked up?
I know. I had to give him the very end of the fairgrounds, and Charlotte's languishing. I'm like, I don't want to read this either. I'm saving it for James.
Let James do it.
Oh, that's the truth.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Funniest thing a kindergartner has ever said to you.
Oh, the funniest has got to be you're a little bit fat, Mr. Calvert.
You're a little bit fat.
All right. Do you have a best classroom costume or theme day? Our school, there's
We go
Oh.
free
big.
dress.
We go.
I remember we had summer or something. You came in with a sun hat, and then I put a lot of sunscreen on my nose. as if it was like zinc, like back in the 80s. And none of the kids knew what that was. Like, and all the teachers were like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that since 1992.
The next one, I know this is gonna. I think I know the answer.
Okay.
For morning message, what's your favorite way to greet a class?
Ohayou gozaimasu. Kindergarten e yokoso.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to kindergarten.
That's
Amazing.
so
And to bow, and they look at you like, well,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you're quite fluent in Japanese,
Japanese and German,
German.
and basically whoever we
You
fought
can
war to.
you can fake it till you make it for just
Yeah.
about any language.
Yeah, pretty good with Spanish and French. I can, read it off the page.
Yeah. No, but it was funny one time. The kids were kind of restless on the rug and reading a story, and he just jumped right in reading the whole thing in Japanese. And the look on their faces was just they were just puzzled. And then they were like trying to focus. So it quieted them down. And then he went
Great
back
way
into-
to get attention.
Clearly, it's not gibberish. I'm actually speaking to you. You could understand this.
Okay. And last one is, what's your teacher superpower? So when you think about yourself as a
Oh.
teacher in the classroom, you
Well-
feel like it's like makes you.
What is your teacher superpower? Maybe I can understand this better.
I would say my teacher's superpower is empathy. When someone is struggling in a subject matter, I'm like, oh, I know I had that too when I was a kid. I get it. When they struggle to listen, I'm like, oh, I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
I
And
think
you-
would be like being able to almost knowing what a 5 or 6-year-old is thinking before they are thinking it.
Oh, you are good at that.
So I feel like, after 33 years of teaching small children, like you can predict what's going to happen. So it's like going back to what we said about reading the room. So I think
Yeah.
that's an
Yeah,
important.
I agree with you on that. That's really good at that.
I think my superpower would be humor and surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
love
know.
it.
Bravo.
Well, James, please come back and do
Of
another podcast
course,
with us. This
of
was so much
course.
fun. And when we were talking about bringing joy in the classroom, you were the first person that we thought of, because you do. You bring joy wherever you go. And when things are kind of chaotic and uncertain, you find the fun and you make it extra fun.
We've been so lucky to have you as a colleague and
As a dear
friend.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
yeah.
That I treasure. I really do.
It's so fun. I mean, do you remember we bonded over Diet Dr. Pepper?
Yes, of course.
We'd clink and then we're like, I guess we shouldn't drink that much soda.
Yummy.
All right. Well, thank you for being a part.
Thank you for having
our
me. This
friend.
is
Yes.
great.
And we will definitely have you back again.
Yes.
So
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. See you
Bye.
next time.
Mata ne.